Hello everyone, as you've seen from the title of the video, I'll be starting on a journey to get 100% of the equipment in Demon Souls' new game. This loot includes 90 armor pieces, 80 weapons, 25 spells, 17 shields and 26 rings. This list also includes the Ring of Uneven Scales, which is obtained by trading a gold coin with Sparkly the Crow. The gold coin is infamous for being the rarest item in Demon Souls with an estimated drop rate of less than 1%, and for causing a glitch that can increase your luck permanently, and to absurd levels allowing you to one-shot bosses with the Blue Blood Sword. For this run, I'll be starting as the Royalty class. This was a strategic decision as this class starts with the Fragrant Ring, which can be annoying to get normally. This class also has a high intelligence stat, which means straight off the bat I meet the requirements to use every spell in the game. I also picked the Providential Ring as my starting gift as it boosts item drop rates and can also be quite a pain to get. In this run, I will be missing out on 9 spells and a couple of boss weapons due to them requiring 3 additional new game cycles. I will also be missing out on the legendary Penetrator armor, which was added in the remake and is the hardest bit of loot to get in the entire game. That being said, I have previously obtained this armor on another character. Now for the rules. In this run, I will have to get every piece of equipment in an area, including those which only drop from enemies, and since I am region locked, I must also be able to wield every weapon, shield and spell before moving on to the next area. In this video, we will first explore the Nexus for the somewhat limited loot available there before jumping into World 1-1. First things first, in the Nexus, I jump down to grab a Renowned Warrior's Soul. I then try and do a similar jump on the other side of the Nexus and fail horribly, resulting in the first death of the run. I managed to land the jump on my second go, which nets me 2 New Moon Grass items. These are the second best healing items in the game, so they'll definitely come in handy later on. If you've never played Demon Souls, this game does not give you an Estus Flask or any sort of rechargeable healing item, and instead, most enemies will drop these grass items, which can heal you varying amounts. Next, I speak to old Grumpy Guts over here, where he complains and jokes at me for wanting to save the world. I honestly think he's just a bit salty, as I'm a better Megamind cosplayer than he is. Okay, time for World 1-1. If you weren't already aware, Demon Souls is not an open world game like From Software's other titles. Instead, there are 5 areas, each with a set of sub-areas. So World 1 is the Boletarian Palace, and Sub-Area 1 within that area is called the Gates of Boletaria. When entering this area, I make sure to turn around and grab some Late Moon Grass, which is a medium tier healing item. Then, I continue forward and kill a few dredgelings as I go. I continue on the left path, carefully, very carefully, avoiding the new pole. Then, I kill 2 Boletarian soldiers and go through the first fog gate. Just after the fog gate is our first bit of kit we've found so far on this run. It is the Nailbreaker, found underneath these stairs. This is a pretty mid weapon, used as a thrusting sword in this game, and in later From Software games this weapon comes back as a dagger used for parrying, even though other better parrying daggers exist in those games. I continue up the stairs and dodge the incoming boulder, which uncovers our next weapon of the run. This is what we will be using for the early parts of the run, at least when I have leveled up strength enough to use it. The B-Sword is capable of putting out quite decent damage, and in real life B-Swords are too heavy to be used well with one hand, but don't have quite enough space on the hilt to perfectly fit 2, and because of that are sometimes called hand-and-a-half swords. Fortunately for our purple protagonist, he doesn't have this problem, as in Demon Souls the hilt is large enough for him to comfortably two-hand the weapon. After pressing on a bit, I killed the Red-Eye Knight guarding the mausoleum. We will come back here after 1-4 for some armour and a weapon using a key given by an NPC we will meet very soon. Here I entirely blank on a piece of equipment, even though I looked directly at it. Fortunately, I remembered to come back for it later. Next up, I continue through the tower on the left and watch as 2 very smart enemies walk straight into fire. My bout of blindness from earlier continues and I miss the enemy on the right that very graciously helps me with the task of cutting the chain. While this drops the Jade Hair ornament, which we will use later in the episode, I am collateral damage for this very helpful dredgeling, who I have named Sebastian, after the giant skeleton summon in Night Rain. This causes another death, so I am sent back to the start of 1-1. I retrieve my souls and pay attention to my surroundings this time, returning the favour to my good friend Sebastian. I then cut down the other chain, which gives me access to the old ragged set. After fighting back down the tower, I open the shortcut and obtain the Cling Ring. We'll be using this for most of the run, as it increases your maximum health while in soul form. We also grab the old ragged set here. Next, I run back up and vault over a low railing using the vaulting mechanic. Fun fact about vaulting, it's hardly ever used in the game. In fact, by my count, it's only mandatory in 2 places in the game, and both of those are in World 1. After jumping down, I grab the Thief Ring. If you haven't played Demon Souls, this ring will come in very handy later on in the game, and for general stealthy shenanigans. Also down here is our first friendly NPC in the wild, Ostrava. Think of Ostrava as one half of Siegmeyer, the helpless half that you heroically rescue. Later on in the series, we'll meet Bjor, who is the heavily armoured, sleepy half of everyone's favourite onion boy. This time, we help him by chucking some firebombs at the Dredgeling Horde, and he rewards us with a brass telescope, which will be traded later on for another item. Here I also get a second mail breaker, which is notable as it is a rare drop. Another fact about Demon Souls, very few items in the game actually have a known drop rate. Drops are either listed as standard, rare, or very rare, and since both versions of Demon Souls are PlayStation exclusives, very few have attempted to data mine the game's files. I protect Ostrava for a bit as he tries to get killed. Fortunately, I have been gifted with arcane knowledge and I know exactly where Ostrava is going to go, so I run ahead and blow up some barrels and enemies on his path. I then loop back and grab the Scimitar. This is quite a nice weapon and we'll be using it briefly while farming before I can wield the B-sword.
You see those warriors from Hammerfell? They've got curved swords. Curved swords.
Unlike Skyrim, however, this sword is visibly not curved. While it is called a scimitar, it looks more like a falchion, which is odd because most From Software games also have falchions, Demon Souls being no exception. I expertly break open the boulder storage to squish the enemies below and avoid getting squished myself. My wife taught me this trick, even though I have far more hours in this game than she does. Further along this path are a couple of dragons guarding some loot, which for now we will have to ignore and come back to later. Further on from this is a bridge guarded by yet another dragon. To pass this we will have to bait the dragon into attacking us, which can be a bit inconsistent. Since there are so many ranged enemies on the bridge, I have to dodge quite a few crossbow bolts. Eventually, I bait the dragon into attacking, giving me just enough time to cross the bridge, and I flip a lever which opens the door to this area's boss. After the lever, there is a nice shortcut that takes you right back to the boss door and the start of the level, but somehow I completely missed it, despite playing this game dozens of times before. Instead, I double back and head back to the dragon that I mentioned earlier. These dragons have quite a bit of loot, but unfortunately I can't get it all without pure white world tendency. For now, I just pick up some archstones and some full moon grass. Back near where we met Ostrava, I remember I missed a bit of loot and I have to roll off an edge to get it. This is the light crossbow, along with a handful of bolts, which was in real life considered a meta-breaking weapon. Basically, any peasant was able to one-shot a knight through their armour with basically no skill or training. Unfortunately, in this game it's kind of whatever, as it has no scaling. I loop back to the merchant to buy some weapons, namely the longsword, the short spear, and the normal-sized club. I also pick up the wooden shield and most of the plated armour set, though I can't quite afford the helmet for now, we'll be back for it later. The longsword is quite a nice weapon, but I prefer the B-sword for this run as it scales better with strength and has a nicer look to it. The club is also a nice weapon, but the short spear is not that great compared to alternatives. On my way back to the route I missed earlier, I activate the boulder trap again to kill the enemies, and grab the pine resin in the alleyways area. This will be very useful against this area's boss due to its weakness. This tower is almost identical to the other tower, except without the exploding barrels and with added hoplites, who give us a taste of what is to come in the boss fight. These enemies cannot be effectively attacked from the front due to their massive shields, which we will have to farm for later. I continue down the tower, killing the hoplites as I go, and I make my way to a lever that opens up a shortcut directly to the boss door. This will also come in very handy when we have to come back and farm these enemies. I return to the merchant and buy the final piece of the plated armour set, completing the items I need to buy from him in this world. After I beat the boss of 1-1, he will move to 1-2 and have some new items. I then run back to the Arkstone and travel to the Nexus and back to reset my health. On the short walk back to the boss, a random drudgeling drops the broken sword. This ordinarily would be a useless weapon, but can be upgraded into the Blue Blood Sword, which is the only weapon in the game which scales with luck. Now onto the boss fight. This boss is the Phalanx, and as you can see it is effectively a giant hoplite with no shield, surrounded by a Roman style phalanx of little shield blobs. This boss is weak to fire damage, particularly fire bombs, as they will take out several of the auxiliary hoplites. Defeating this boss will also unlock some more loot in the Nexus, and will finally allow us to level up. While this boss's footage is running, I'll take the chance to explain World Tendency events in World 1.1. For White World Tendency, we will have to wait for a separate event that happens in 1-3. After this, 1-1 will contain the Purple Flame Shield, the Ring of Resistance, and Ring of Strength, since the dragons we have met earlier will have moved. As well as this, we can get the Blue Eye Knight Helm, the Master's Ring, and the Brushwood set in the gated area at the start of the level. In Black World Tendency, we will have to wait again until 1-3, and then after this, 1-1 will contain the Guillotine Axe. Since World 1 is a bit strange with how each sublevel unlocks, we won't be able to visit 1-3 until much later in the game, and World 1 will be the last Tendency events we complete. If you want to skip the boss fight, skip to the time listed on screen, but I will let it play out for those who want to see it. After this boss, I regain human form, giving me back my full health bar. Unfortunately, I need to immediately die to get rid of this for tendency related reasons. You see, if you die in human form in a world, the world's tendency becomes darker, which we don't want happening in this stage of the run. In order to avoid this completely, you can deliberately die in the Nexus, which doesn't have world tendency, to avoid accidental tendency changes. Over the course of this series, you will see me rolling off this ledge quite a lot. Now that I have defeated the Phalanx, I can ascend the stairs in the Nexus to speak with the last Monumental. He tasked me with collecting all the loot in each world, but one region at a time, and also saving the world, or something. I wasn't really listening. This unlocks the other Arkstones in the Nexus and allows access to worlds 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, and 5-1. After this, I travel down a bit and grab the Stone of Ephemeral Eyes, which can be used to turn into human form later when we want to get to Black World Tendency. The other major thing I have unlocked after defeating the boss is leveling up, which is necessary for this run as I need to wield every bit of equipment I find. I am also not doing a no leveling one, but if anyone would be interested in seeing that, don't forget to like and subscribe. Anyway, I talked to the Maiden in Black to get my long-awaited levels. I level Strength up to 15 before running out of souls, so it's farming time. I need about 3 more levels to wield everything I've picked up so far. This took about 4 runs, totaling only about 20 minutes of farming, taking me to a total of 18 Strength. During these farming runs, I also picked up the Hoplite Shield and a Soldier's Shield. Now that I am at 18 Strength, I can finally wield the B-Sword, and I went for one final run where I gleefully one-shot most enemies I came across, and gather enough souls for the last level, taking me to 19 Strength, which allows me to wield the Hoplite Shield and thus everything I can currently collect in World 1-1. Finally, I gave Thomas the Jade Hair Ornament, and he gave me the Ring of Herculean Strength in return. Now we have obtained every bit of equipment that we can from World 1-1, and we are able to wield it all. thus completing the region. In the next video we will be covering World 1-2, the Lord's Path, and after that we will be moving on to World 2, which is called Stonefang Tunnel. Thank you all for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below what your favourite weapon or spell is from Demon's Souls, and with that I will say, don't you dare go hollow.